So a couple days ago when we were taking my grandbaby home, I get a phone call. You free ranging your cows again, Mom? No. So my son and other daughter, got my cows put back in with no problem at all. The fence, they just found a weak spot. It was all they had to do was grab the feed bucket. They didn't even have to put any feed in it, and they took them and they put them in. However, they had wandered through the yard and they found the apple tree and they brushed up against it. Several fell out, so I went through. I got a bucket and a box. The boxes for the ones that looked like they were still good to use for us. The bucket went to the ones that had been nibbled on or looked pretty brown anyway, and so the chickens got those. And then finally today, a couple days later, I did go through, and so I went through and I got lemon water and went ahead and cut up all the apples, which is equivalent to about 4 batches of my mama's Apple Crumble. I'm going to put this up here for you. Go ahead and stop this video, take a screenshot, do whatever you need to do. There's the recipe. That's where you'll find it. Don't forget the directions. That's what you need to do. And you can tell by the stains, it's a very well-loved recipe, so I think you'll like it too. But we don't need 4 batches of Apple Crumble right now. So what I did is I have these trays that I had purchased on a discount. Didn't use them for what I had planned to use them for. They've gotten beat up in storage, and by golly, today we're going to find a use for them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make apple crumble for the freezer so that if I just want one for hubby and I, or maybe one of the kids and I, or even me and both kids, you know, depending on who all you're serving, I think this is just a nice size apple crumble, and great for gift giving. You know, someone broke a leg or something and you want to do something for them, but you don't have time, you grab in, and this is perfect to give to like a single person. I'll go ahead and spray these pans just as if I would any of my regular baking dishes. I just love having throwaway when you can get it on a super deal. I mean, I think these were at least half off. Mama's recipe calls for putting a half a cup of water, which I'm going to do these as a half a batch basically, so it'll be a 1/4 a cup of water. I always thought that was a little too runny. Love you, Mom, but it would just, when I make it, it's too runny. So what I'm going to do is, I didn't drain these apples. I'm just going to leave whatever liquid is soaked up in them and put them in these pans. Boy, I can get a lot more in here when I use both hands. A little too much even. I don't want to fill this, but maybe 3/4 full. We gotta have room for that topping. Really, might even have enough to make a small batch for us tonight. Because we are participating in the Every Bit Counts challenge, I thought this was a perfect way to use up these apples. My tree has done really well for me the last couple of years, actually. I've had some pretty good crops. Peaches, however, sadly, I don't think I've had a good harvest off my peaches since 2019. About a teaspoon, because remember, we're half batching this. A cinnamon. We're going to sprinkle that on top. Each one of these pans, you ideally could mix it with that water and then pour it over. But like I said, I don't like mine quite that liquidy. And I'm not even using a full teaspoon here. Cinnamon's one of those things my husband's not a huge fan of. Whatever looks good to you and your family, no judgment here. All the sugar is going to be in the topping, but something tells me I'm going to put a little sugar in here. I feel like I have before. No, it's all in the topping. Because see, we've got that lemon juice that we put on there to kind of keep those apples from browning. So they're kind of a little tart. Surely we need some salt, flour, sugar, and butter, it says. No salt? Who doesn't use salt? Oh, the butter's salted. Remember, let's see, I think we decided it's going to be about 4.5 batches since we had that extra. So sugar would be 4.5. So since we're here, I am going to sprinkle just a little sugar on there. I'm going to use about a tablespoon for all of those apples. So such a minuscule amount per batch. And we need 3/4 cup of flour times, well, let's not math today. That'd be 3 cups of flour, 3.5 cups of flour probably. Yeah. My kitchen is not always exact when it comes to baking things like this. It can be an approximate. And butter. And yes, this is my homemade butter that I made. If you would like to see a video on that, I have 2 on 2 different machines of butter. Old antique butter churns. I'm going to mix that flour and sugar up. And then I've got this butter softened. I'm trying to remember if Mama melted her butter. It doesn't say, but this is very soft, so we'll go with a softened butter. These were frozen, stuck them in the microwave for 30 seconds, flipped them over, did another 30 seconds. So some of it is just a little, there's a little liquid pocket there. If you see that, don't fret, that's all that is. And these apples are from my backyard, obviously, because, you know, the cows thankfully didn't get out of my yard. But it's kind of nice that I'm using the butter that I made from my cows that are in my backyard. And then I turned around and used the apples that the naughty little things knocked off. And I'm just using my pastry blender. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to blend this up until we have little pea-sized pieces. You can absolutely use a fork, or there is nothing wrong at all with using good, clean hands. And then it's, you know, kind of relaxing. You can just run it through there and get a better feel of it. If the butter is still a little frozen, it would kind of help soften that right up. Because you want lots of little pieces of butter. You don't want big chunks in here. Makes for a better topping that way. I better preheat my oven since we're going to make some tonight. Ooh, there's nothing better than homemade ice cream, or we like to just put cream on top. Let's see, moderate oven. So I'm going to say 350. We'll just spoon on some of this crumble. Take a nice heaping spoon and put on each one to start with. See how far that gets me. Nothing like comfort food right here. I tell you what, this winter, after going out and doing chores in the bitter cold, coming in and having something like this as a dessert or Gosh, you know, I've been known to eat this for breakfast. I think we'll have enough to put maybe another half a scoop on each of those. Okay, so I have these lids that came with the pans, and so this is the side you write on, and this is the side that you use for baking. You can probably bake it like this, but I like to flip it. Your choice. But I want to be sure that I put what this is, and it is Mama's Apple Crumble. And we're going to bake at 350. I'm going to say 30 minutes since it's such a small pan. You may not even have to thaw it. So there we go. That's kind of hard to read. Once I have that done, I'll take this because it's cool. We didn't bake it. We didn't pre-bake it because the apples have been put in the lemon to keep them from browning. So it's not like we have to par-bake it or anything. I mean, you can if you want. I like to do the little corners first, and then I put the side flaps down. These are now ready to go in the freezer, but we got a little pit stop on the way first. Meet you downstairs. We snuck down here to the preservation station where I've got these bags, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this right down in here. You can do this after you freeze it if you want. Freezing it first would be the smarter choice because it's going to keep this from sucking it up so tight, and it would probably be more flat when we did it. But I'm doing this because I know myself well enough to know that I'll forget to come back and do it, and then I won't get the video out, and I wanted to show you. So do what I say, not what I do. But I was coming downstairs anyway just to put them in the deep freeze that's down here. So I thought, why not do it now so I don't forget about it later? And I just love this Avid Armor. While that's going, I can get a next one ready. And because I have the one that's the Pop Goes the Weasel kind, it will pop up and I can put another one right in there. It's nice and sealed tight. It's got the nice tear-proof tab. And once I get these all situated, I can just go boom, 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 and get these all sealed in minutes. Oh, here she's ready for another one. And pop goes the weasel. I just think that's hilarious. If you're not familiar with Avid Armor, they do a double seal. It takes all the air out, and so it's going to really seal this in tight. And I'm going to suggest that you go ahead and write on this part, because we didn't write it before, what year you did it. And if you want, you could even do, you know, like fall 2024. Actually, it's still summer. Okay. I'm not going to worry about it. I'll have the general idea. Here are some pictures of the baked apple crisp, and here they are ready for the freezer. I'm so excited that you were here with me today. I'll see you next time, my friends.